I wanted to take some time today to share with you a message around our university budget conversation and how that specifically impacts student life. We have a lot of difficult work to do ahead of us, and I want us to all have as much information as we possibly can to engage in that work together. So I have a lot of information to share, and I am sorry this may be longer than the typical video, but I do have some notes over here just to keep me on track and to make sure I share with you all that you want and need to know. So let me do a quick outline of what we're going to talk about, and then we'll dig into the details. So I want to start off by doing a quick recap of Talking with Todd from February 13th, where he delivered a budget message. He gave a lot more detail than what I'm going to give today, but that's okay because there will be a link in the email to that video. So you'll have an opportunity to hear the details that I'm not going to go over today. So if you haven't had a chance to see that, it's a great video, great conversation, and it'll give you a lot more detail that I think will be helpful. Next, we're going to talk about how this effort will impact student life directly. And then we'll talk about our approach, which we already started. So that gives me a lot of excitement because we've already started down this path and this effort, which I think puts us in a really good position. We'll also talk about how you can engage and help, because that's really the aim of this work, is that we're all involved, we're all contributing, and contributing in the way that we uniquely can. And then we'll talk about next steps. So let's talk about Todd's Talking with Todd video from February 13th. Once again, high level, what President Dykon shared with us is that over the next 4 years, we will have to make a 10.5% cut in our university budget, which equals approximately $51 million, right? And that sounds a bit overwhelming, right? But breathe, breathe. We are really positioned well as a university because we've made several really good investments over the years, and those investments are really paying off for us. We are sitting at a place right now where our enrollment is really strong. We're graduating still over 10,000 students each year. So we are in a really good place as a university. So I know 51 million sounds really big, and it is. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try to make you believe that that's not a big cut that we'll have to make. But the good thing is we're not making that cut in this 1 year. We really have time to plan. We have time to rethink some things and to really focus on President Dykon's charge, which is to do things differently. So not focusing on doing more with less, which I know over the years since I've been in higher education, that was a lot of the focus, doing more with less, but instead to do things differently. And so we have time to really be thoughtful about that. So what President Dykon talked about during that time with our community is that we are committed to balancing our university budget annually. And why that's most important is that when you fail to balance your budget every year, it really snowballs. And so you talk about 1 year having to cut 10 million, and if you don't cut it that first year, you now have to possibly cut 20 million. And that really puts us in a dire situation, puts us in a place where we have to make really hard decisions quickly. And that's really not helpful because it leads to rash decisions that really don't help us to be thoughtful and to use the data and the information that we have and to engage our community. And so we are committed as a university and have been to engaging in annual balancing of our budget. President Dykon also shared that, we're not alone in this situation, and it's really due to a few factors, which I won't go into a lot of detail around once again, but I'll share some high level. So it's our cohort tuition model that's really playing into this. And really what President Dykon talked about is that every year expenses go up. It costs us a lot to educate our students every year due to inflation, due to the shifting needs of our students. However, we as a university, as we are mandated by the state, aren't able to really address those increases. We have to really stick within the budget, which is a good thing for our students, right? We want our students to be able to expect what their tuition will cost every year, but at the same time, it does make it difficult when expenses go up, even though our budget is staying the same. He also talked about the state funding model, that we have seen decreases in state support for a number of years, and obviously that impacts our ability to provide the education we need to provide for our students. There's also this stiff competition for student enrollment. Students have lots of choices within Ohio, and because of that competition, in many cases, we have to compete with how much scholarship dollars we provide to students that keep us from being able to keep our scholarship budgets low. He also talked about other universities, public universities and private universities who are facing very similar challenges right here in Ohio. And some of you might have seen yesterday there was an announcement that Notre Dame College in Cleveland is closing their doors. So this isn't a situation that we're in alone here at Kent State, and it really has a lot to do with those factors that are impacting public institutions and private institutions across the country, but also specifically here in Ohio. Let's talk about items that make up the university budget that obviously apply to student life as well. Salaries, benefits, and student aid. It makes up 75% of our budget here at the university. So if we have to make dramatic cuts, which we do, we're going to have to take a look at those three factors. So when President Deichen talked about the university budget, he was particularly focused on our Education and General Fund, which we typically call E&G. And really those budget reductions that he outlined, he's focused on those having to come from that fund. However, he also mentioned the auxiliaries, and it will be important for us to think about how the auxiliaries here in student life and across the university support our overall university mission in relation to these budget reductions. So we will be taking a look at both. So between fiscal year 24 and 28, which fiscal year 24 actually begins July 1st, 2024, we will need to cut $500,000 from our student life budget. We have already begun that process, so I'm feeling really good about the fact that that process has already begun, and we've already cut $90,000 from our budget with this fiscal year that will start in July. So let's talk about our approach here in student life. So as I mentioned, we need to be able to cut just under $500,000 for the next several fiscal years. But we've already started that process, and I'm really, really encouraged because I know we have talented professionals here in student life who care about our mission, care about our students, and know how important it is to work together to make sure we continue to thrive and can continue to live out our mission here. So we started this process really looking at refreshing our strategic plan. And I want to thank each and every one of you who have contributed to where we are to date on that strategic plan. We still have some work to do, but we're making progress. That strategic plan outlines our priorities, and we're really positioned well to make sure that our priorities align with our budget. And so as we're making budget reduction decisions, we can align that with what we have stated together are our priorities for the division. We started this work in January, which gives us the opportunity once again to align with our strategic plan and to really put our priorities at the forefront as we were thinking about these budget reductions. And I know many of you contributed to the conversation in January where we made some tough decisions about what we would stop doing and what we would continue to do. What I was most impressed with is that what I heard in that space was that we were using our data to make good decisions around what we should stop doing and what we should continue to do. That's important going forward because we want to make sure that we are aligning these decisions with our priorities and what can have the greatest impact on the communities that we serve. So a lot of tough decisions, a lot of great work, and we really got ahead of even those decisions that we have to make for fiscal year 25 through to fiscal year 28. So we are on the right track because we started those conversations early, and it gives us time to then make those decisions in a way that are strategic and align with our priorities. So we have all the data, we have all the information. We know this is going to be a challenging and difficult period ahead, but we're doing this together. And because we're doing this together, I know we're going to continue to thrive. What's critically important to me is that we're all engaged and we're all contributing to this conversation and these decisions. So how can you be engaged? How can you contribute to these decisions? So first, I want you to ask questions. Even if it seems like it's a difficult question, it will always serve us better to be able to think through the questions that you have because it may help us to make better decisions. So please ask questions when you're in your department meetings, when you're in your update meetings. Ask questions around what we are doing and what we need to do. I also want you to provide recommendations. You're in the work. You're doing the hard work every day to help our students and to help our community. So you probably have recommendations that many others haven't thought of. So don't think any recommendation is too small. Please share those recommendations and we will talk through those and we'll make sure that we consider those as we're making these decisions. It also will be important that you share challenges. You know, as we're making these decisions, we have to be able to see all sides of the impact that these decisions will have on our community and on our students. So share those challenges that you can see. So what are our next steps? We had a lot of hard work ahead of us, but we're doing this together and we're stronger together. Each of the directors will be engaging you, if they haven't already, in discussions around how we can move forward and really contribute to this university effort. We'll spend time over the next several months engaging in those conversations. We'll also have an opportunity for you to ask more questions about what's happening at the university level and here in student life. On March 21st at 8:15 a.m., we will have a coffee and convo session with me where I'll share some of the highlights I shared today, but really spend most of that time answering questions that you may have. So I hope you will be able to join us. If you can't join us, feel free to send a question along with a colleague who is able to make that time. We have a lot of work ahead of us. But the good thing is we're doing this work together and we will continue to thrive. We'll continue to live out our mission here in student life. We're going to do this together. We have talented professionals here in student life and I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. This is going to be a great process for us all and we will come out of it stronger and better than even today. So thank you for taking the time to listen, to take in all of this information, and I look forward to you being engaged over the next several months so that we can get to these difficult decisions and make some good decisions for our community. Thank you.